Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a conversation inspired by a simple truth in live entertainment. The show must go on. From soundcheck to spotlight. The real tune of global music concerts. Please join me in welcoming our moderator, Rajoshi Chatterjee, Assistant Editor, Stat Publishing Group, and our distinguished speakers, Same Elitas, Production Manager, Electric Castle, Radu Rus, Chief Technical and Production Officer, UNTOLD, Jonas Bengtsson, Founder, Creative Freight Europe, Jovan Neo, President, Band Directors Association, Singapore, Janet Arn, Vice Chair Lady, Hafa. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome them to the stage.
The show must go on, so there's a lot to make a show happen. And who knows this better than the people on this particular panel. So thank you all for joining this conversation. When audiences attend a concert or a music festival, they see the lights, the sound, the spectacle. What they rarely see is the massive logistics and production network operating behind the scenes. And today, these events are far more than just concerts. Fans travel globally to experience them, creating significant impact for host cities and countries across tourism, aviation, hospitality, retail, and local businesses. In fact, I'll share one example. So recently, there was a Coldplay tour that happened in India also, and a single Coldplay concert in one Indian city generated nearly $67 million across the multiple industries, from hospitality, hotels, everything. And as productions become larger and more immersive, the pressure is more on the logistics, the freight, the technical operations, event coordination. And diving deep into that, my first question is for Sam. Sam, you have been part of globally recognized music festivals, from Electric Castle to Tomorrowland, and now that Tomorrowland is going to happen in Thailand. Can you give us a sense of the scale behind these productions and what are the logistics operation look like behind these music festivals?
Well, talking about Thailand, I don't know that much, of course. They're still in pre-production, but I can imagine it's going to be a massive task to get everything there. Keep in mind, a lot of things will come from Thailand, but there's also a lot of things will come from the Europe side. So let's say the stage itself is not in Thailand, it's in Europe, so they need to ship it all across the globe to get it here. So this will take a long time. You need to put it in the containers, you need to load it on the boat. You're dependent on the boat to get to the port, so there is you don't have control about it. So if something happens in the world, what you see now, it can disturb the transportation. So this can also endangers the festival itself. So this is a very global issue, can give our festivals problems. And not only festivals, of course, but this is what we're talking about. So it's, it can be hard, but that's why we plan ahead. We take a lot of time extra just to get sure we have a week spare and not to be on the edge of everything we're doing. So yeah, that's, I think, important to plan a lot. Pre-production is, I think, one of the main things we do. And then on execution, we hope we got all the pre-production right. So then it's just up to whatever is going to happen on that time. We cannot control everything, of course, so yeah.
Right, we don't have the control over many things, but planning is a very essential thing. And coming to you, Radu, so Untold Festival has evolved into Europe's largest music festivals. So how has the scale and complexity of technical production changed over the years?
First of all, thank you for the invitation. then I would rather refer to the video that you just saw a couple of seconds ago. You saw fireworks, you heard some music, and you saw lights. Most of you, if you're going to a music festival, you'll probably stay a couple of hours over there. What people are not understanding is that we are staying months to organize what you saw over there. But obviously, we do have a team of maybe thousands of people behind us. Referring then to Untold, it started in 2015 as a project from some students. It's something similar to Exit Festival, which we discussed a couple of hours ago. It started like a basic stage with whatever the equipment we had in Romania. We had David Guetta as a DJ. We had also Avicii as a DJ. But in the following 8 years, we managed to, we didn't manage, we were forced to get equipment from Belgium, Netherlands, and Germany, because Romania was not prepared. Romanian market was not prepared for having big music festivals. Now, because of the war in Ukraine, because of the pandemic, and recently because of Iranian war, we are actually forced to go back to Romanian market and to get most of the equipment locally. So yes, it grew in 10 years a lot, both the festival and the Romanian market. So now Romanian industry, music industry, it's having the power to support Untold.
Great. And so Jonas, over the past 15 years, you have handled highly special logistics, from moving grandstands for the Handball Euro Championship, using 25 trailers across 6 depots in Germany and Poland, to worldwide for orchestras, touring artists, global productions. So from your experience, what makes entertainment logistics fundamentally different from traditional freight?
I think that the first and the biggest difference between special event logistics and general cargo is that in this industry we need to have a way to adapt and react on what happens, because you can plan whatever you want, how much you want, and you can have everything set. But then there is one guy on an airline terminal who don't find your cargo, doesn't want to find your cargo, and that will miss a flight. And that is where you need to be reactive, go, okay, this happened, how do we deal with it? And very quick come up with a backup plan or another solution. Do we have time to do the next flight? We need to call the airline and go, so where is the pallet? Why didn't it fly? Why did the plane go technical? And all the things that happens. And the same thing with if you do ocean freight, the same thing. They close passages due to boats standing on the wrong way in the canal, or whatever happens, storms. You cannot ever plan everything, because we have nature, other persons, and that's the difference. Because me and all my partners, we adapt and react on whatever happens, and we communicate in a way. So some of my clients called me on a Saturday night going, hey buddy, we missed something. Okay, what did you miss? Oh, we need a truck in Stockholm on Avicii Globe Arena at 1 a.m. in 3 hours to pick up this stuff that was supposed to go on a tour truck, but now they need it urgently in New York, so we need to have it collected tonight and flown tomorrow morning. Try that with DHL or DSV or whoever you want, and you will probably get a hello and welcome to the customer service of DHL. We are open Mondays to Friday between 8 and 5. While I would call one of my partners, hey, I need 2 sprint events, 5 sprint events, I need 6 trucks. Just go and pick shit up and drive to the airport. I will make things happen overnight, which my wife is not super fond of, but it happens over and over again, and so it's a hard thing from corporate HR controlled business to constantly moving form without any shapes. They will just adapt and react on whatever happens.
Great. So you mean entertainment logistics is more personal, and more than the corporate thing?
Oh, of course. 99% of my clients doesn't want to do it with anyone else because they trust me. All my networks that I work with, they trust me to do the best I can for them at all point, regardless if I have had a 40-hour day because something got shit yesterday. That's yesterday. Today is a new problem and a new solvage. And it's hard. It's incredibly difficult and tough. But as I come out on a venue and see some of the faces that we saw on the video, where they see nothing but the biggest star, the biggest idol, and the fun and the music and the live and the production people working their ass off to get shit happening, kills every moment of tiredness or doubt that this is something anyone can do, because not everyone is built to be in the logistics industry for the events. Because this is not corporate, this is, in the end of it, is family.
I would just say that you either have a problem, either you have passion because you're doing this.
Can it be a bit of both?
Yeah, so we have different problems, different solutions, and everyone in this panel comes from a different country, but from the entertainment logistics side. And coming to you, Jovan, in 2025, you led the organization of the 22nd Asia Pacific Band Directors Association Conference in Singapore, which is quite large-scale international event involving concerts, workshops, outreach performances, exhibitions, networking sessions across multiple venues. So can you give us a sense of the coordination and operation planning that required behind an event of that scale?
Okay, first of all, thank you, Step Publishing, for having me here. I'm quite a different background. I'm actually from the music and education, not so much in terms of logistics, but it's really amazing to see how important this logistics aspect of things is in a large-scale event, especially. So like what we have heard from many of the panelists, one of the key things is really about the planning. What goes behind days and months before, years before the real execution. So during the APBDA conference, we actually saw about 30 groups from overseas, and we are talking about groups which are 60 to 100 musicians from across Asia Pacific. So we have groups from Japan, we have groups from Thailand, we have groups from Hong Kong as well, and many parts of Asia Pacific. So that requires a lot of coordination, and that really, I mean, many of the groups had to use logistics company to move their instruments as well to Singapore, because some of these instruments that are in the wind band are really huge. And yeah, so that requires a lot of coordination and everything. So it's really this whole ecosystem that is making things happen behind the scenes before the music actually comes alive. And some observation is that actually we are the first to host the APBDA conference right after the COVID pandemic. And we realized that that whole hunger to want to attend live events became more evident. So that was something that we noticed, and we hope that this can continue in the performance and the concert industry. More people will be coming forward. That human connection is so important in the age of AI, and this is something that we can continue to bridge between technology and human touch. Yep. So I hope that together, regardless of the genre of music, we are in the business of bringing people together. Yep. And of course, we need the logistics to bring the world to us before we can bring the music to people. Yep. Thank you.
I think together we can make better events, and together we can create better music. And Singapore is a very important hub for global events, and so is Hong Kong. Hong Kong has long served a major gateway for entertainment, cargo, and touring productions. So coming to you, Janet, how critical are freight hubs today in supporting global live entertainment ecosystem? And how is HAFA playing a critical role in making these events happen?
Hi, I'm Janet. I would like to why Hong Kong is irreplaceable. I think one of it is airport is very supportive and there's multiple airlines because like Jonas saying, though concerts are some things that allow zero errors, that's what we say on the face, but problems are constantly happening. And Hong Kong as a sport with very supportive airlines and airports, it makes a lot of solutions more flexible. Like if someone is offloading or the CBM suddenly become much bigger than what we expect or we plan, there are also always options. And also it's allowed for multimodal, like there are also sea freight and also cross-border truck that's like Shenzhen, like they're one of their like massive LED produce place, which is at the neighborhood, and it's very close to us. So it gives us a lot of like replenishing or some solutions when problems happened. So I think that's important. And because human makes error, and as HAFA, we help our members to, I think we can say we are the super connector. HAFA ourselves help our logistics folder to have a platform or to get to know customs, Hong Kong Air Authority, because sometimes when there's mega shows, actually maybe freighters, charters are important, and then it enables that to have spots for the airport, also customs when some things really happened, and of course terminals, which Hector is very supportive in one of us. So I think these are the importance of what HAFA is trying to help our freight forwarders members.
Right. As you mentioned that there could be errors, there could be problems. These are all part of any event, and it's the event producer, event logistics partner's job to make sure that they go beyond solving that problem. And that is why my next question is for Sam. From a production perspective, what do you think are the biggest pressure points or challenges that happens, say, in the final 72 hours before the concert goes live?
Well, actually, logistic is one of the biggest pains in our jobs because we don't have control over it, right? We can plan everything, what we do, but in the end, we don't know if the truck will be there on time, yes or no. Let's say the truck is late, last 72 hours is mostly the technical part. So the festival is maybe already built, all the sites and toilets and all these stands, but the audio-visual part will not come weeks in front. They will come as late as possible because we need to pay for it daily, so there is a staffel on it. So if you say we want to bring it a week extra just to be safe, nobody will do it, nobody will pay for it. So we will push everything up as close as possible to opening of the show. So if one truck with whatever material is late, or like say 10 hours late, we have a big issue because we planned everything not on the minute, but on the hour mostly. We know which truck will come in, we start unloading it for the audio, then the other truck comes in, we do the lights. So if one of these items is not coming or is later, you also need to consider there is a lot of crew waiting for it. So maybe you have 20 people, and UNTOLD, I think it's maybe hundreds of people waiting to get that truck unloaded and built. So first of all, let's say it's 10 hours late, you need to keep the people there 10 hours because you don't know, is it 10 hours, is it 5 hours? We don't know. Where is the truck? Nobody knows. So it's also to have a good connection with your suppliers and the people on the floor, because you need to ask them a favor. Can you stay? We need to get this done. The show must go on, regardless of regardless of the truck is going to be there. The show will go on 72 hours, the gates will go open, and we need to have it done. So this is something you need to, as production managers, I think, be on the floor and have a good connection with everybody on site, so that people want to work with you and want to do the extra effort to make it happen. And I think that's very important. It's one of my, I think, most important things is to have a very good understanding with the people on the floor and keep them happy, to make sure if something happens, you can rely on them to stay longer or get the effort done to make it happen and get the show done.
Radu, do you want to add to that?
Well, I would just add the same thing that Sam said. 72 hours before the show, it's actually everything is done, because we are like doing the sound checks before and we are doing programming before. But as Sam mentioned, yes, the main idea is that if one truck is getting delayed, there is like another 100 probably people who are waiting for something that's in that truck. But usually it's working like Jonas said yesterday. You just need to get the phone and swear them, and they will deliver the truck in like minutes.
It's having good connections with the people around you, suppliers. We don't see problems, we see solutions. We are solution-based people. That's why we're production managers, because if we only see problems, we will not go anywhere. So what we try to do is to find a solution. I know a guy, I'm gonna call him right now. I'm gonna fix it, and that's where we get in.
Right, and we have all the stakeholders from the logistics industry right here with us in this hall, with Creative Trade, Etihad, Hactel, and all other people involved. So I'm sure they are listening and they will address this. And for the general audience who don't come from the logistics background, I think it's more like a connecting flight. If you miss the first flight, or if the first flight is delayed, the entire travel chain is affected. And so, Jonas, how do you think, from a logistics service provider point of view, how these problems can be better managed, I would say?
It's a complex question, because if I would decide, the guy who works on whatever airline handling I have for this shipment, he didn't have a bad day yesterday, or he slept properly last night, so he was alert on the job. I mean, it's things that you can plan but never control. And I mean, I have a shipment inbound to Stockholm right now. They called me 3 a.m. this morning, and they picked up the cargo that was missed out of the main shipment and put it on the new shipment. And then they were on the airport an hour and a half before the cutoff for the flight, but the line queue to get into the handling agent was an hour and a half more than it's normally on this day at this time. So, of course, we missed that flight. And this is stuff that is on the west coast of the US. It needs to be in Stockholm on show day on Sunday. And this is all complicating things. But if you don't panic, you answer the phone at 3 a.m. in Bangkok when it's, I don't know where LA is compared to me, but they are probably 5 hours after us. No, before us. So I texted with him this morning and said, well, I missed the flight because of this and that. And he said, well, our solution is to fly it and it will arrive Saturday. And we didn't deliver Sunday. Well, that still works if the airline, Delta in this particular moment, which is not the best reputation to get things out of the shed, that they actually fly it. My backup option on this, send it to Copenhagen. I will send a truck to Copenhagen to pick it up and have it up there. Even if it's arrival Saturday, we're fine, but it's a direct flight. So it's a way of finding ways around what happens at the exact moment when it happens, without going, yeah, wait, I need to think. You can't think, you need to react. And you need to understand how this always is happening. And it's all about the relationship with your client. So if this would be Sam's equipment that got on a hold somewhere, I would call up Sam and go, hey buddy, we missed the flight, this is the reason. This is my backup plan, and this is the solution. I will work on any one of these two, and I will let you know first thing when we have a set plan. Just to let Sam know that I am, sorry for the expression, I am the shit for you. You can't find anything better than me to solve your problems. And that's the relationship I have with every one of my clients. They trust me with their life, regardless if it's a violin from the 1700s to a guitar that is bought on eBay last week. It doesn't matter. I don't care what it is, because everything in a shipment, for a production, for a stage, for a show, is always the same value to my client, and in the far end, the audience who's coming to see my client perform.
I think Jonas is as emotional and as personal as the audiences who attend these concerts. They are very personal about it, and that I really like the spirit. Yes.
Yeah, but this
Can
is
we
the
have an
only-
applause?
This is the only thing I've done since I was 16. If you ask my mom, since I was 10, but that's the story I will tell if you ask me tonight after a couple of 3 beers. I will tell you a very fun story, which is not very appropriate, but it's a very, very funny story. But I have never done anything else in the show industry. I've done everything. I've done stagehand, I've done light designing, I've been a truck driver, I got jumped in on freight with air and sea freight out of the Rocket Cargo Group 15 years ago, and I can't do anything else. I'm 52 years old, and this is what I'm gonna do until I fall over with my toes in the air, smiling, because I've seen venue after venue with smiling, happy audience, and had production manager thank me for breaking my back for him and his cargo.
Yeah, it's a passion. I think for us, it's a passion. People are maybe already thinking about retiring, and I'm like, I don't even think about it, because I want to go as long as I can to do this job, because it's a passion, I love it, and I can see it in the people around me that they also love it, and that gives me energy.
Absolutely. And so, Jonas, you mentioned about the personal side. Is there a strategy that you take when designing the logistics planning for global tours? Some of the tours you have handled, like productions linked to Sabaton, Avatar. So what's the strategy beyond that person connection? How do you decide between trucking, ocean freight, commercial, or dedicated charters?
The first thing we always look on when you do freight for intercontinental productions, European production, is timing. Timing and costs, that's the two different things. Because if you look at the biggest bands out of Sweden now is probably Sabaton, Avatar, Amon Amarth is big, Ghost is hugely big. But it's how much does the rental thing cost for a production? That's the first question. Yeah, we sub-hire speakers and lights and stuff for, they cost $1 million a day. So do we have time to do an 21-day ocean freight from Europe to the US? Probably not. We probably need to freight this by air or charter, because the production cost per day is so big, so the cost overrules both the ecologically view on air compared to sea, but it's also the cost of having production going. Because if you do that kind of projects, I mean, project manager, light engineers, stage technicians, and everyone on the tour, they cost money by the day, even if there's no show day. So that means that they will cost everything, and that makes the super great artists like Taylor Swift or Beyonce or whoever you take, they looking at $5, maybe $6 million a day costs in labor, rental, And that's compare the amount for every day for, let's say at least if you do a quick sail over from US to Europe, it's 21 days with side and schedules, compared to putting everything on 1, 2, or 5 747s and fly them over. You have a week off where people go home and rest. That's a cost that works for a production. But a month away, because Sam wants his salary, because he can't work anyone else, because he can't take a new tour for 3 weeks and then go back on whatever tour he's on. So it's a big complex finance versus timing versus doability. I think that's the key thing is those three elements. It's timing versus costs versus what can you do.
Great. And handling the logistics for such big artists like Taylor Swift or Ryan Adams or anyone, say that's a different scale. But on the other hand, it's the educational or youth music groups that increasingly travel internationally for performances. And this question is for Jovan. So, what do you think are the biggest logistical and operation challenges these groups face today?
Okay, so for schools and education, actually, I think one of the biggest issue compared to professional groups is the budgeting issue. It's always a major factor when they travel. Schools are not profit making, so they are not so well funded in terms of travel. So it's really about balancing the artistic ambition that we have in the conference versus the practical realities of things. So that's always something that we find that is a challenge. But I realized coming to this conference, actually, it's really about building that whole ecosystem that really matters, right? How we actually get logistic partners to understand how important education actually is, because this actually helps with the whole social mobility. People from young, the moment they get to travel as a group, when they grow up, this kind of changed the whole background of things for them. And it builds passion, like what Sam has said. Yeah. So from young, if we can have the passion to do something, I think that's something that we need to imbue in our youth, especially, to have that passion, to grow, to have that passion. And I think in today's world, which is a lot more fragmented, concerts don't just bring entertainment anymore. Concerts actually bring people together, right, to bring that common understanding. And that's why I feel that all the more we need to do more in terms of like engaging with our youth through music and through conferences and concerts, so that we are using them positively. We are not using them, but we are engaging them positively and giving them the positive experience to come together and do something that they can be passionate about together. Yep. Thank you.
And this music concert or entertainment logistics, it's not an e-commerce parcel. These are very high priced, high value, delicate things that move around the world. And I'm sure there are a lot of challenges that even the logistics service providers face in terms of managing that. So, Janet, my question for you, what are the biggest operational challenges that freight forwarders face when managing concert and festival cargo under extreme tight schedules?
I think all problems are quite serious when it comes to problem. If it's customs situations, then those are something you can't avoid. But what we can avoid is to plan ahead or to cross-check, like those minor human errors that actually make us biggest problem. Because if custom don't pass, then you don't have the cargo. I think that is the major thing, because if it's loading bay issue, car issue, then it can still work with some kind of human help if you find the correct person to help, but customs things are. So I think to spot the risks in front and to really try to cross-track and give contingency plans, those are most important. The other things that when it happens on ground, it's about the experience of the project manager that you choose, and if he or she knows the right people, and to ask for the right help, and to have this mindsets that know what's priority, how to get things going. I think experience is gold on that side. So still custom, I think, is most important, and you need to know the rules and the restriction on that particular country or the cities that you're going to minimize everything that's uncorrectable.
Right. I think customs is something that is probably a problem for many of these forwarders and the overall logistics chain. But as Janet said, there are problems and we need contingency plan. So to the production people, my question is, what is the contingency plan for you?
That's a good question. Mostly, we, like, say for technical things, we can have a backup PA system or a light system waiting somewhere. Maybe, let's say, something does happen with the other one. But of course, if we have good local suppliers, we can always jump in. Let's say last year, you can see at Tomorrowland, everybody was like, well, what's going to happen? And everybody's canceled. And I was like, no, I'm 100% sure they're going to do something. Okay, maybe it's not going to be the same as what they were planning to, but they have the good connections. It's years of like working with suppliers. They are a couple of phone calls away to make things happen. And this is, I think, very important for production managers and everybody who is involved to have these connections and have the good connections and have the good relationships with all these people to jump in. It's a weekend. We don't have weekends. I think for us, weekend, it's summer. It's working time. Actually, this time is for us a very busy time, but I think just to have these people ready to jump in for you, even in the weekends, and it's not only about cost. It's about partnership and loyalty and friendship. It's also a kind of a friendship because we spend so much time together on the floors. We see people on the festivals more than our families. So if the vibe is good, it's good. But if the vibe is bad, it's going to be a very long day. So
how's the vibe? I can't hear it. Good. Great. So this is the kind of friendship that we are building and moving ahead. Also, we are looking forward to this friendship, and really, it's been a pleasure part of this panel because all of you, despite your busy schedule, you came. But the panel is not over yet. Radu.
Yeah, just wanted to add that the fact that every single time there is a plan B, every single time, because you never know, maybe the trailer or the truck will just hit the whatever and they will not arrive, so the speakers will be blown, so you just need to have a plan B. But every single time there is a plan B. Usually you are reaching to the plan B by force majeure, but then it's about cost. I know you mentioned that is not about the cost, but when you already cancel the A plan and you're reaching to the plan B, you just need to probably find someone like Jonas, call him, get air freight, and just bring your speakers from whatever the place they are.
Planning actually start?
Well, as Baselard said, Zora, they are working 12 months before the event, so same thing happened to us. Usually we are starting planning the next project after the moment when we are finalizing the loading out.
I mean, as audiences, we probably see this 1 month before the concert actually happens and we buy the tickets and go to it, but
I will just give you an example. So if you're like not booking the right artist now for 2027 or 2028, you'll never get that artist. Same thing with equipments, like sound equipments, light equipments, SFX, pyrotechnics, and so on. If you're not reserving them from now, you'll never get them next year. So
Jonas, can you give us an example of any particular tour? What was the scale of the things moved? What all things moved? What was their mode of transport? Basically, one example to demonstrate the entire logistics chain.
Yeah, let me look at this in another way. When we're talking about planning tours, normally we're a year out, because that's when they start getting the schedules ready, and no one will come in too late on everything. And it's I am. This is one of the few questions that I have on this boat, because I'm doing a panel tomorrow, and this is one of the few questions where I am not in that group of decisions. I'm basically the third plate baseball player that everyone relies on to do my best. But it's a bit complicated, and it's also a question of what kind of production manager you have on the tour, how big the tour is and how well prepared he is for it, and whoever he talks with. So it's a bit from to time. You need to be adjustable to whoever you work with on the tour, because sometimes I have things booked for end of 2027 already that I know is going to happen, but I also have clients who call me on Wednesday for 3.5 tons of stuff that needs to fly on Friday express to Mexico, which is one of the worst, I would say one of the 10 worst countries to import things to, because they are strange. And it's just very, very, very complex and hard question to answer, really. I hope I gave you some kind of vague answer on that one.
I like this candid conversation that we are having right now. And do you think this question is for all of you, starting with Janet? How do you think technologies like AI can come into this scenario and not just help in production, but also in the logistics side?
I think I mentioned about cost checking things. And sometimes when it's done by humans, sometimes it happens. I think one of the most important things that AI can help is to help us cost track, especially, and like Hava, we are trying to push customs to be more digitalized, which might help in the future, which will minimize all human errors, especially when it comes to customs. And another thing that I always believe is we're in the logistics business, experience is everything. But at the same time, sometimes experience is an obstacle too, because we'll be harder to think out of the box. But out of the box is what our customer is asking us. And sometimes AI might also help us in brainstorming and to get some new solution that we can test, because I think that's all the possibilities. Even like Coldplay is asking for CO2 emittance to lower, which for us, solution is everything instead of just CO2 emittance. But now that it's more and more eco that everyone is asking for, now this comes to our mind. And AI and a lot of professionals are all that is helping us to create new solutions. So I guess that's what I think AI is helping.
Yeah. Jovan?
Yep, in music and education, AI and technology is becoming increasingly popular, but I think music still has that human connection. Of course, AI and technology can help us a lot in terms of, but it should never replace the human. I think the human still needs to come together for most of these things. Yep, and I just like to add on to something, is that I think when we talk about organizing such festival, We bring together different cultures, and we understand different cultures better through organizing some of these things. So, when we talk about working with the Japanese, they are very about precision, about getting things on time, right? And when we have friends from Thailand, which were coming, they prefer something that's more flexible, right? So they are not so, they don't want to be so bound by schedule. Yeah, so to some extent we learn from that. We learn different cultures. It's very interesting. Just like an event like that, we hear from different people, different perspective about how we react to different situations. And I think ultimately for a successful event to happen, it's really that whole human connection that really happens. Because you talk about what can go wrong, I think we have heard that 1 million things can go wrong, just like crashing into a tree, a truck crashing into a tree. But how do we resolve that is that whole human connection that comes into play. And different cultures actually has different ways of reacting. So being in a totally different country, you kind of have to react quite differently in the cultural context. And yep, so that's what I have to share. Yep, thank you.
Thank you. And so we are running behind the schedule. So in very brief, Jonas, would you like to add anything?
I think we need to work in to get some kind of less less problems with things that we can avoid. One of the biggest problems that I see now is in the freight forwarding is that we're going more and more paperless. There's more airway bills, and there's more. The airway bill doesn't travel with the cargo all the time. It's in an office, and sometimes they forget to put the airway bill in the pouch that goes in the in the hold for the manifest for the flight. So when things arrive in Stockholm and I don't have an airway bill, an ATA card that accesses to the cargo, I can't customs clear. So this is one of the big things that we need to work harder on, is to get all the countries around the world on the e-ATA Carney system, which they in Europe now is implementing from Monday, I think, which is an app, and you get the Carney number and an access code, and then you get it in the phone. So that means that when you come to customs, if you have a US shipment coming into Sweden, and it goes to Norway, they can the Norwegian and Swedish and Swiss and UK and customs, they can only stamp the right voucher. Because when they come up in the app, it says, where are you based? I'm based in Sweden. Okay, you can only fill out the white paperwork. And that's the next step on getting a more fluent air cargo movement, which has been not a 100% big problem, because we need to adapt and adjust, but we need to have those things going away. And I see more and more air tags in people's personal pellet cases on cargo. So they come, oh, I'm looking at my Find My Phone app, and my case is in Hanover. Yeah. Well, it's going to fly to New York. Yeah, but we are flying from Frankfurt today. So we are still on bound, and that complicates everything, because I know you paying me to know that I know what I'm supposed to know and do what I'm supposed to do. And now you're questioning my ability and my knowledge to understand that for this destination in the US, Frankfurt is the only option I can use. And that's why you can track your air tag on the road in Hanover instead on, I can't find your AirTag right now, so you probably lost it.
Yeah, it's like going to a doctor and telling, okay, based on my symptoms, I Googled it and it says I have this problem.
Exactly the same thing.
So, Sem and Radu, what is your message to the logistics service providers?
We need more guys like Jonas, because yes, I do have one guy like him in my team. He doesn't need to sleep, because I don't care if he's like fatigue or not. He just needs to be aware about delivering goods. And what I do really feel that happened in the past 3 years, since I was working with the same guy, is that he already started learning our terminology. He understands what I'm saying to him. Hey, I need my truck with scaffolding. He knows what to deliver, which, in my opinion, is like a decent upgrade for the past 3 years.
He's learning our ways because we are very technical and we think everybody knows what we are talking about, but some people think I'm a DJ because I do festivals, you know? No, I'm not a DJ, but it's just the disconnection between what we are doing and yeah, what people think we are doing. So yeah.
So, Jonas, as Radu said, Sam said, they need more people like you. Do you have a message back to them? Anything you need from them?
More budget.
Yeah, give me the money, more budgets. No, it's from my pure point of view, what I ask in return of my clients is also loyalty. I do a Swedish metal band called Meshuggah. This is not metal as you hear it on radio. This is metal like, can I leave this room? But they are growing insanely around the world, and they've been around for 40-something years. And I do everything for them. I do the trucking in the Europe, I do all the ocean and air freight and everything they do. And my employees, my truck drivers, they come and they go. And every time they leave my company to start working for someone else, they always try to impress the new boss and go, oh yeah, I'm going to call all Jonas' clients and I'm going to try to take them over to us. Yeah, please do, get more clients. And then they call up Ronnie, which is an old friend since I worked in the UK 15 years ago, and says, hey, I used to drive your truck on these 3 last tours, and I left Jonas and I started working for this company, and I can also give you the best logistics service to a better price than he can. And Ronnie is one of the funniest persons. The girl is like, yeah, well, there is a small issue here. I have this, and this is actually exactly the same thing it says to all the people who addresses him, both from other air freight networks, or air freight forwarder networks that try to pick him up, is that, well, I've known you for a month or 3 months on some tours, but Jonas has been one of my best friends and suppliers for the last 15 years. I know if I trade my trucking to you, that you probably will do at the same service and same, in the end, in 3-4 tours, the same rate. I will lose that on the relationship with the other shipments, with the air cargo, the sea cargo, and everything, because then Jonas will lose his respect in me, and I work with relationships, and I love Jonas, and he's one of my best friends, and I'm not interested in you for that. So if you want to drive my tours, call Jonas and start working for him again. And I think it's been 3 or 4 calls, especially with him, which has been insanely brotherhood and friendship-like. And that is what, especially me as a company owner, but I always been that person for the last 52 years of my life. It's all for me about relationship, trust, friendship, and get shit done when it needs to be done.
I think
It's like a long-time investment in friendship and suppliers. So you get it back at some point, but you need to invest and not look at the short term, like get the extra box, couple of €1,000 here. I don't think that works like that in our business.
yeah, long-term friendship, long-term trust also, it takes time. But I think after this panel and especially after the cocktail session, Jonas will be everybody's best friend.
Yes.
All right. So finally, if you had to describe the global concert logistics in one sentence, what would that be? If you have to describe global concert logistics in one sentence, what would that be?
Mine will be madness. You just need to have something wrong in your head to go to this direction.
Mine is, I think, concert logistics is like dream enablers, and dream takes persistence and miracle. Persistence is the planning. Miracle is like I constantly beg airlines, begging airport authorities, terminals, truckers, and everyone to make things happen. So I think that's what I feel.
Okay, I'll take on what she has said. I think really before music can move the hearts of the audience, I think it's really the logistic that moves the world to the venue. So a big thank you to everyone who's working so hard through logistics. Yep.
It's to get the trust that if John says that's going to happen, me as a production manager or like a festival will like, okay, he will make it happen. How he's going to do it, that's his job, of course, and his ability, but it's a trust thing. I think we go to companies because we trust them, and maybe it's a little bit more expensive or whatever, but I think that balances out just to have the peace of mind that somebody is working on it, even though there's something going on. I can do other things while he's fixing that problem.
Jonas, you want to add something?
My only sentence would be, shit will happen. How do you solve it? That's basically my life every day.
Amazing, amazing. So it was quite an interesting panel discussion. I really loved the conversation. Hope all of you in the audience too. Thank you, panelists. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, please join your hands together for this beautiful panel.